Welcome back to Advance Wars 2. It's time for the final part of the Orange Star campaign, and then we can move on to the other countries. First up is a very long map, followed by a very short map. Now, weird thing about the story part of this, it seems that they already know who Lash is, but this is the first mission with Lash in hard mode. Like in normal mode, they would have been introduced to Lash already, because there was a mission dedicated to introducing her, but it seems they already know who she is, which is really weird. But I suppose they don't really care about continuity when you know the plot already. And these are entirely new missions, like designed specifically for hard mode. Anyways, we're playing as Sammy in a very mountainous region. This map is called Mountain Ops, but it's more like Mountain Oops. I've been waiting forever to make that pun. So anyways, this is another map that I really don't like. It's way too long. It's just designed to consume more time, to be honest. Like, that's my assessment. Like, as soon as we are able to view the map, I will show you what I mean by that. And to be honest, you know I'm kind of being harsh on Advance Wars 2 so far, because I've complained about several maps taking a lot of time already, but I do feel that that is something worth criticizing. But, all of these maps have been designed specifically for hard mode, so, like, maybe I should not be too hard on it, otherwise it will set a really bad tone for when we get to the other countries, because those are all just harder versions of normal mode's maps, and there are some really good maps among the ones made for normal mode, so maybe this will get better. Alright, so anyways, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So as you can see on this map, we have a very, like, sine wave-ish shape of this path here. And it all leads up to that HQ, which we kind of have to capture, because we're playing as Sammy. What else are you going to do? You gotta capture the HQ. And it's being blocked by a black cannon. We've seen these already. So the strategy for this is going to be mainly taking an infantry up to this base up here, capturing it, and then wondering what the heck happened with the level design here, because there's an error in the tiling here. You see that? Where are those mountain tips coming from? Weird. They must have, like, drawn a path straight through it, because they knew it would take a while to go through the sine wave path here. But anyways, we're going to capture that base. We're going to build a rocket out of it. We're going to shoot out the black cannon, and then we're just going to overrun it with mechs. A couple of new concepts are being introduced in this map. Well, actually, I think we've had missile silos already, but there are missile silos in this map. You would know what they are if you'd played normal mode, so basically the long and short of it is you can get an infantry over there to launch a missile, and it will do 3 damage to every unit in the blast radius, regardless of unit type. You can hit anywhere on the map that you please. Lash is going to get one of them. And we will have to divert it away from the capturing infantry if we want to. Well, actually, it doesn't really matter, because we're playing as Sammy, and she has a quicker capture rate anyways. Alrighty. We'll just build some more infantry. Not much is going to be going on until we capture that base. And that does seem to be the ideal strategy, because if you go through the path here, you're going to cross into the range of the black cannon. And you could capture this base here. The problem is anything that comes out of it is going to get hit by the black cannon, more likely than not, and then you're going to end up spending money on the repairs, and it's just, not a very well-designed map, in my opinion. And then once you do capture that base at the top of the screen, like, what are you going to output from it? You're going to put out tanks and artilleries, probably, but if you try to use a rocket, then they can only move one space a turn through this forest because they don't have enough movement to get through the forest in one turn. So that slows the game down even more. Just the heavy terrain. And did I forget to capture this? I did not forget. Thank goodness. Alright, so now we've got to divert the missile, because she's probably going to fire it on the next turn, and hopefully this will do it. The way the AI works with missile silos is they like to fire at wherever they can cause the most amount of money damage, similar to Sturm's Meteor in Advance Wars 1. And that's exactly what she's done. She went for the 2 APCs, which are the most expensive units I've got at the moment. But if I had just, like, produced 2 tanks at the bases over here, then I don't think she would have fired at it, because I think the AI would have known that, like, I would have just repaired those units anyways, on my turn. So yeah, time to, punch through these infantry forces. I'm going to start with medium tanks. I need a direct combat unit to punch through those enemies. So, I could totally just join these APCs to get some of my money back, and that's actually a pretty valid strat. Saves me some money. And also, we can now use our silo. This is one for each of us. But I will wait a little while until I'm able to push through them. Because, you know, just launching a silo at 3 infantry, that's not very profitable. Alright, and now the bases on the left side of the map are completely useless because I'm going to produce all of my units on the middle top bases now. Did I... I should probably launch this before the enemy decides they want to start firing at me. Alrighty. I guess sit still with the medium tank and fire at this infantry. So I haven't talked about the enemy CO yet. Lash is a very fun character in my opinion. The most fun character in Advance Wars 2. Well, newly introduced in Advance Wars 2. Because she's a mad genius, and that character type is very fun to see in action. Unfortunately, her abilities in battle are not as fun. She gets more firepower depending on how many stars of terrain she is standing on with her units. So an infantry on a mountain from her is actually a very potent threat. But since she's so reliant on the terrain, she's more of a CO where the map has to be designed with her in mind, and this map was definitely designed with her in mind. I would say that Lash is much better for this map than Sammy is. Like, I know these mountains are good for Sammy because her infantry can walk on them, and mechs are very good here because they aren't slowed down by the mountains at all, but still. So far, this is going alright, and I actually want to have this APC come a little closer, so it can start transporting a mech. But you can see how this could potentially take a while, because I can't move past the black cannon without destroying it first. And, like, they actually have these 3 force styles here that are only traversable by infantry. Because there's no way to get a vehicle past them. It's kind of silly. Alright, now we've got a rocket in range of the thing, though. We could probably even blow it up in one turn since I've got an artillery there. This is actually going a little bit quicker than previous attempts, because in previous attempts I just spammed artillery. But now I know that you definitely want a medium tank to handle your direct combat stuff and plug up this little gap here. That's a very important point to take. So, I guess we need to start working on getting more foot soldiers over there, because it's not going to be as simple as waiting for our power meter to charge up and then going straight for the Victory March HQ capture, because you know that's what we're going to do. Like, what else could you do with this? She's getting clever, using her APC to block the medium tank from moving away. Is this a one-shot? It certainly is. We destroyed our second black cannon. Can't forget about the one from the Andy mission. Unfortunately, you cannot move on the part of the terrain that the cannon was occupying, because I guess you can't just walk through all of that wreckage. So it's going to take a while, but eventually we should be able to push to the HQ. Oh, whoops, I did not transport a mech with that APC. Oh well, we'll get another medium tank. So yes, we have another situation here where the map takes up way more time than it probably should. let's just start firing at things, getting them out of the way. As long as we power up our CO meter, I will be alright. This APC is being very annoying, though. I probably should have gotten it out of the way. Wow. That's okay, though. And with an APC there, we can start transporting another mech. Hopefully some bigger units will start coming out, then we can start getting our... Oh, that's unfortunate, leaving it at 1 health like that. Just gotta keep moving. Yeah, this is a map where it... You know, turtling is probably your best plan. I guess I'll send the medium tank down there. Try to get some action out of that factory. Drop the units like so. That'll get an infantry closer. This is almost like the perfect spot to make a victory march from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so an infantry couldn't get to the HQ from that space, but it seems like the point where you would want to drop off all of your mechs and have them go at the HQ that way. Alright, so all of Lash's CO powers reduce all of her terrain costs to 1, so these infantry can move very far over the mountains. And her super, I believe it increases the number of stars of defense she gets from terrain, which in turn increases the amount of firepower she collects with her regular ability. Still not the greatest CO in the game, but usable if you know how. Alright. Drop the mech there. And I've already got another one waiting and ready. What turn are we on? I haven't looked. Yeah, just look at how choke pointy this all is. Uh-oh, infantry coming from the back. I better just build my own infantry to block that off. Still only 3 stars so far. I mean, we'll get there eventually. I suppose we could lure in this tank by using this front infantry as cannon fodder. We might not even need the CO power if she spends enough money on this base. This base is actually really vulnerable. Like, if you let the enemy capture it and then put a medium tank here, there's no way for any vehicles to get out because it only has 1 space not occupied by a mountain. Stellar base design right there. Like, that's worthy of Kanbei, I would say. Alright. I don't think I need to build any more units, but it never hurts to have some in reserve. And maybe she will be forced to build from it. No, she built a mech and an APC. So I could actually double time to the HQ if I wanted to, but I don't know, that's probably not a good idea. Well, now we're in place for the super if we can manage to get to it. And still a ways off from having that happen. I've forgotten to check what turn I'm on. Turn 17. Wow. Yeah. So this is taking longer than I would have liked, but... you know, it's still not as bad as the Max versus Flak battle, because that took a way longer amount of time than it should have. But I can't really imagine this is interesting to watch. Now, she built absolutely nothing from her HQ bases. I guess that's just typical of the AI to forget to defend their HQ. So maybe I should double time it. That wouldn't take as long as doing a victory march, but we almost have victory march loaded and ready anyways. Just gotta clean up the rest of these enemies. That medium tank is doing absolutely nothing. I'm not even sure why it's there. I'm not even sure why most of these units are here. What I should be doing is trying to get more infantry, just in case. Alright, day 18. 19 as soon as my turn comes up. Wow, that's an even worse base for Lash. Like, look at this. Anything that you build out of this base has to go through so many forests. Like, really? Like, I'm not sure who this was supposed to favor, the player or the enemy. Because it seems to favor the player pretty heavily right now. We've almost got the super ready, and we're gonna need it, actually. This tank should go for the capturing infantry. Well, if it were allowed to, anyways. It's dead now. Yeah, I think we've pretty much got this in the bag. It's gonna be another victory march. And I haven't even lost a single unit. So this isn't even really that hard. It just took a long, long time. Like, where's the hard mode here? I should be able to fill up the rest of the power meter on this turn. Yep, there it goes. And here we go. Time to end this indeed. Like, this has taken 20 minutes so far. Like, I'm trying to not make these episodes as, super, super long, but that's kind of, like, it's kind of turning out that way despite what I do. Alright, let's, I don't really think we need to, like, go crazy and destroy as many units as possible. I can't even destroy that many units. But there it is, insta-capture. It's not like this is our only hidden base. That's so typical. I guess Lash destroyed all the files before we could get to them. Oh yeah, she just said that, of course. I'm sure if you had found out where the lab was, then we could have gone to get some info from that.
Mission complete.
Of course, somebody forgot to get the map. I wonder who. Alright, with that out of the way, there's only one map remaining in the Orange Star part of the campaign. You can play through Blue Moon and Yellow Comet's part of the campaign in any order you want, but the order doesn't really matter too much. So I guess I will just do what I always do and start with Blue Moon. Unless somebody really wants to see Yellow Comet first. Alright, in this map you can actually choose which CO you want to be. And that also happens in the lab mission if you unlock it. Yeah, how is he here while he's supposed to be invading Yellow Comet? Because, like, all 4 of the Black Hole COs have a mission in Orange Star. Really strange. Like, I don't know if they're supposed to all be attacking the countries at the same time, or, like, they, like, on a phone call or something. Maybe that's how. Oh, well. No reason to really worry about it. Anyways, the objective in this mission is to destroy a pipe seam, so it's gotta be Max, because he's the best at destroying things. That's kind of a weakness that all of the final missions of each campaign have. And this is going to be take 2 for this mission, because I severely underestimated how difficult this was going to be. Like, I was ready to praise this for being an actually challenging mission, but actually, now that I have reminded myself of the mechanics of the mission, it's really, really not the best ending to the Orange Star campaign. Like, all of the Orange Star hard mode maps have been very, very iffy so far, and this one just kind of puts the cherry on top. So the gimmick of this is that you have to face down a black hole factory. There's going to be a factory topping off each of the 4 campaigns. And the way these work is that any unit that the AI wants can pop out of the factory, and something that's really annoying is that not only does it not cost Flak anything at all to deploy units from that factory, but the AI of the units that come out is going to be completely random. Like, you see that the recon just sat there and did nothing, but the B-copter moved towards me. Like, the recon and the B-copter will not always do that exact course of action. Sometimes they will hang around near the factory, sometimes they will guard infantry that are capturing things. Really, randomized AI, like, I don't think that was necessary. Like, it makes trying to play this very inconsistent. Advance Wars, like, a very big difference between Advance Wars and Fire Emblem is that Advance Wars is much, much more consistent. Like, there's not a lot of RNG going around. And another thing is that the recon actually stopping on that tile and the mech staying on that tile, that's actually going to block one of the reinforcing units from coming out of the factory. They can't come out if the space is blocked. So, yeah, what was going on here? Why is the AI doing that? And, what's even more aggravating, or what has the potential to be more aggravating, is that the units that come out of the factory, those are ambush spawns. Yeah, speaking of Fire Emblem, if you haven't played Fire Emblem, you probably don't know what ambush spawn means. It means that as soon as the units appear, they are able to make a move. And in Fire Emblem, that's considered by the fan base to be very, like, that's considered to not be a good design choice because the player has no chance to react to the unit that appears. Oh, I left my own anti-air in range of his, so it's going to take a hit. Unless I do this, at least you have missile silos and can launch them. I just gotta, like, drop his power level a little bit. So yeah, ambush spawns, random AI, in addition to, like, all sorts of other stuff. Like, the recon was actually blocking a space where a medium tank would have appeared. Yeah, something to note about this mission is that the units that appear are always scripted, so at least those are consistent. There are 18 days worth of scripted units that can appear, and if you, like, should you take longer than 18 days to clear the mission, then what actually happens is that the game loops back to the first day and starts spawning units all over again. Like, I know that because I'm a ROM hacker. And speaking of which, that bomber's random movement pattern is another RNG part of it. It's now guarding infantry. Like, there's actually an AI pattern programmed for guarding infantry. But yeah, if it hadn't decided to do that, my units would now be dealing with a swarm of all sorts of units. Like, if the AI decided to attack aggressively. So, getting to the actual strategy for this, I wonder if I should launch that silo, just to... Nah, I don't really need to quite yet. I'm just gonna sit on it for now. I'll use it on any units that decide to attack. Yeah, since I knew that fighter was coming, I decided not to go for the airport. On normal mode, I would definitely go for the airport. On hard mode, since I know a fighter is coming, the strategy is instead going to be to capture this base, and then, like, just spawn a bunch of medium tanks from it. If I had neo-tanks, I would use them, but I do not have neo-tanks, so that's unfortunately not an option. So I guess there is a map where neo-tanks would be preferred. I've got a lot of money, so I'm going to build an anti-air. I can imagine that bomber coming for me next. And the fighter just sat there, so, another unit got blocked. Like, can you see how this is not exactly the best mission? Because it's really inconsistent. Like, so far it's been very inconsistent. Alright, now I have to launch this. Just reduce the amount of damage that the medium tank is going to take. And, I don't know if it's worth going for that airport, but I'm gonna do it. Like, I haven't really lost that many units. On the previous attempt, like, this turned into an absolute disaster because one of the B-copters that I eventually got, because on the previous attempt I actually decided to go for the airport. But on that attempt, my B-copter actually ran out of ammo right before it was about to destroy the pipe seam, so that was kind of painful. Geez, now the medium tank is actually being blocked. This is getting annoying. Like, I would love for tanks to be able to go on rivers. It seems like that should probably be a thing in the future. If they make another Advance Wars. Or somebody decides to ROM hack Advance Wars, you never know. So yeah, this, him clogging up the factory up there is actually causing the game to slow down a bit here, and he's actually destroyed the infantry blocking the... or that was capturing the airport, so no airport for me. But now that we're past all of that, we should be able to get in there and start attacking the pipe. We've got a Neo-Tank coming for our HQ. So technique is going to be a bit of a problem. And another problem that I haven't actually talked about is that on top of everything else, it can be very difficult to get an S rank on this map. Because what happens is, like, he's spawning so many units. Like, how many is he up to right now? He is up to 26, which is actually not a bad amount. But really, like, if this goes on for much longer... I don't want that Neo-Tank to come after me quite yet. If this goes on for much longer, it's going to be very difficult to secure a high power rank. Because let's remind ourselves what the conditions for the power score are. You have to destroy 10% of the enemy forces built over the course of the map in one turn. Now, if he decides to leave a bunch of weak units near those medium tanks, then this will not be a problem, but you never know what he's going to do. Like, he's going all in on the HQ now. In fact, this might be the turn to attempt to secure the power score, because the Neo-Tank is not in range now. So, how much damage will I do? Alright, I think using the power here is a good idea. So yes, on normal mode, you just go for the airport and drop a bomber on the pipe seam. On hard mode, you're gonna want to send out a swarm of medium tanks, or Neo-Tanks. But since I'm handling this with medium tanks just fine, I guess, like, Neo-Tanks wouldn't have been much help anyways. So, thanks to some luck on my part, we do in fact have this mission secured. Now we just need to worry about what the score is going to be, because I've gotten all S ranks so far. It would be very nice to keep that streak going for the rest of the game. And how is my technique doing as well? So yeah, all of that force on the left side, and unfortunately it's all going to come crashing down. I've only lost 3 units, so that's not going to be too problematic, I hope. We need to survive for one more turn, though, so it's possible for something very crazy to happen. Let's get an anti-air, just in case the B-copter comes in close. Yeah, I really don't see these 2 units surviving. Hopefully that's okay. And we still... yeah, power is still going to be a problem, too. This is probably going to be the first A rank of the run. But if I stay... like, if I average A or above on all maps, I think I will be okay with that result as well. Because normally I just get a B out of this from just dropping a bomber on the pipe seam. Speed is secure if that happens, and technique is secured because I didn't lose any units, but I didn't destroy any enemy units. So yeah, this map has a lot of problems, and unfortunately that's going to be carried over into the maps that also have factories in them. So now it's time to destroy as much as I can, which unfortunately means just that one B-copter. But the map is over. We're going to see how we did. Yeah, no more units coming from that factory. Never mind all of the ones that have already been deployed. Thank you very much. Like, seriously, this is worse than a victory march on the HQ if there was one. Because, like, there's still so many enemy forces that could probably just run us over, and then they'd be able to repair the pipe anyways. But, I don't know. I don't ask questions about this kind of thing. Yeah, you think no? You think? Alright, next time we take on either Blue Moon or Yellow Comet, depending on what people want. Oh yeah, we have to actually watch the intro cutscenes for those as well. Yeah, it's an A. But that will be my goal. Average A or better on all maps. Alright, so... Oh yes, some of you out there know that in the Japanese versions of Advance Wars, Olaf has a white beard instead of a brown one. That is an alternate color for him in Advance Wars 2, so I'm playing with white-bearded Olaf. Great, you've never heard of Black Hole. It was never mentioned in Advance Wars 1. They didn't tear up Blue Moon, did they? They were, like, allied. Sturm was allied with Olaf. Like, this reeks of being written by somebody who hadn't played Advance Wars 1, because Olaf's hometown, it's eventually going to be revealed that Olaf's hometown is in Blue Moon, but he was previously an Orange Star CO, so what happened? Like, I should save that for when the Blue Moon campaign starts. And the new Blue Moon CO, oh man. Using him is always a joy. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And finally, Yellow Comet. And how will they choose to introduce Kanbei? I can't seem to find my other sock. Well then. Can't even find his own socks. We didn't see what the generic Blue Moon infantry looked like, did we? But they used the Yellow Comet infantry in this cutscene. Alright then. Ah, Sensei, the other new CO. You know what they call him in Japan? They call him Yamamoto. That name doesn't mean anything whatsoever, now does it? Seriously, I don't think he's really supposed to be Yamamoto from Super Famicom Wars, but I like to pretend. Alright, with that out of the way, next time we take on whichever campaign the viewers want. I'll kind of leave it up to you if you like. Alright, see you then.